The RTX 4070 might not be what you think it is, and Cox is getting into mobile internet. I said it. I said the Cox word, and Logitech getting into the gaming handhelds. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast. And today's top story is going to be about NVIDIA and the RTX 4070, which is supposed to be their midline offering for you video gamers out there. But there are now new rumors coming out that NVIDIA has not quite decided what this GPU is going to be, even though we're about a little less than a month away from them getting debuted from Jensen September 20th, allegedly at their GTC announcement. And according to the reports, that is because they will either give us the one that's the big fat fully fledged GA104 chip, or is it 8104? What are these things called anymore? It's 8104. Yeah. With 12 gigabytes of VRAM at 21 gigabits per second, or a cut down version with less CUDA cores, 10 gigabytes of VRAM, and a lower power draw of 250 watts. The high end one would have a power draw of 285, but there would be a difference in performance, not necessarily a ton. It's likely that potentially if we do get the lower one at 10 gigs, that might give NVIDIA room to come out with the higher one as the 4070 Ti, or they might have different plans for the 4070 Ti. But regardless, it does look like we might get the announcement of the RTX 4070 with the rest of the GPUs that we're expecting, but we won't see it come out until potentially late this year or early next year, because NVIDIA wants you to buy graphics cards that are out right now. Stop waiting for other GPUs, which we'll talk about in a second. But first, we gotta talk about today's video sponsor, which, by the way, I don't have on my desk because Kyler keeps stealing it from me. Today's episode of Hot News is sponsored by BZ Future, and they currently have their 2022 back to school sale going on right now until September 10th. You can go to bzfuture.com/back to school, where you can pick up great products such as the one they sent over to us, the Dario A87 Pro mechanical keyboard. And as soon as we saw it in the office, we fell in love with it, so much so that Kyler stole it from me, and I had to steal it back from him in order to make this ad spot because he would not let me keep it, even though we both loved it so much. It of course has the beautiful blue, white, and orange design, which I'm absolutely a fan of, but it also has some other great mechanical keyboard features, like the fact that it's RGB backlit, it's hot swappable, and it's featuring the Sky V3 switches, which sound great, but then also feel buttery smooth. Like, I really like linear switches now. I used to like MX Browns, but I've stepped up, and this is a very nice, just feeling experience. I love it a lot. But the fact that it's hot swappable, in case you actually don't like these switches, you could replace them with the ones of your choice and keep the PVT keycaps that are on here. But it also features a fence type gasket structure as well as macro custom programming, which is great. And so as part of BZ Future's back to school sale, you can check out this and more at the link in the video description. You can use my code NE for 15% off on your purchase over at BZ Future. But they also have many other items that you can check out that are up to 50% off. Again, check that out at the link in the video description. Use code NE to save 15% off of the A87 Pro. Big thanks to BZ Future for sponsoring today's video. So NVIDIA is desperate for you to buy GPUs. 4070 might come out late because, according to new research reports, GPU shipments are down tremendously from the previous quarter. AMD is actually doing quite all right. They increased their overall market share by 1.1%. Intel increased theirs by 2%, and NVIDIA having the toughest, roughest of times, down 3.15% in total GPU sales. That is just based on integrated GPUs as well. But overall, GPU shipments are down roughly 15% from Q1 of this year, with AMD shipments decreasing 7.6%, Intel's decreasing by 9.8%, and NVIDIA is decreasing by a whopping quarter, 25.7% decrease, which is quite significant. Now, normally Q2 is lower than the previous quarter, but not usually by this much, especially not with NVIDIA's GPU being that heavy of a decrease. So it raises a few questions. Were NVIDIA's GPUs more heavily used for mining? Likely. So the fact that mining went down meant that their sales were more heavily affected. Miners maybe were less likely to buy AMD's GPUs. Additionally, maybe AMD wasn't making as many GPUs, so they don't have as many sales going towards miners, or gamers were actually able to buy up the excess inventory, or potentially, I mean, this is probably not likely, but everybody who's been waiting for a GPU GPU from NVIDIA is waiting for the prices to go even lower to continue to stick it to their big fat green heads. I don't know. Is that the reason why you're not buying an NVIDIA GPU? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm gonna let you know about the ASRock's new B650 Live mixer motherboard. This thing, it's something. Look at that. It got splashed with paint. There's paint splooged all over this guy. Kyler, come look at this. The splooge explosion. Oh, this is dangerous. You're playing a dangerous game. Ooh. It could potentially work depending on like what system you want to build, but it's not gonna be right for all systems. It's gonna be, you're gonna have to color coordinate what you want. But ASRock being daring with their B650, and I'm daring you to not skip Cryptostonks, because you don't. I looked at the retention. Nobody skips Cryptostonks. It's so weird. It's too short to skip. I thought I would be done with this by now. People would just be like, oh yeah, it's like the huge dip in the retention. No. Okay, Bitcoin down 1%. It's just barely holding on to $20,000. When I actually started recording, it was still below $20,000, but it crept back up ever so slightly. Ethereum up a little bit to be at 1550, and Dogecoin down just a scoochie doochie to be at 6.1 cents. And Reece, my scoochie doochie, how are you?
Hey everyone, welcome back to UFD Deals. We bring the hottest tech deals out on the internet. Oh, and Brett, I didn't forget. Just like I didn't forget about these deals that we just had the other day. And surprise, surprise, the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X is back again because it's dropped another $50 since last time. The 8-core 16-thread CPU is currently going for $245.99, which is 45% off. But on the flip side, if you're Team Blue, the Intel Core i7 12700KF is currently going for only $321.29, which is $143 off or 31% off. And don't forget, you can find all these deals and more linked in the video description. Back to you, Brett.
Thank you for the hottest tech news, Reece. That was beautiful. I felt serenaded in my heart, and a tear has been shed from my lids. Let's now talk about me zipping my lid about Cox, because I had Cox internet when I lived in Florida, and boy, howdy, do I not have a great opinion of them. But now, I could get their mobile internet. I could be tied to them for my daily use case on my cell phone. Cox announcing that they're gonna be launching their pilot for Cox Mobile, which they shut down in like 2012 because they couldn't get like Apple to partner with them. It was a bad idea in the first place. Who's gonna use it right now? Anyways, Cox Mobile's gonna have 4G and 5G and pay as you gig and gig unlimited, and it's gonna be, don't do it. Listen, don't sign up for Cox. If I can, have sponsors who I promote, I need to have anti-sponsors who I demote. What we should call that? What's the opposite of sponsor?
Non-sir.
Googling this, sponsor antonym. Boycott. Oh no, that's stupid. Dissenters. No. I mean, technically I'm trying to cancel them. You know what? We're gonna dissent. This is your dissent for the episode of Hot News. No Cox Mobile. Okay, it's gonna open up in Virginia, Nebraska, and Las Vegas. Don't do it unless you need it. In which case, I'm not gonna control your life. But Intel gonna control my life. I won't talk about that. Let's talk about Raptor Lake. We got leaked slides about the launch that's going to be taking place with this. According to the reports that are in this slide, we've got the go-to-market details for the various chips that are coming out. It looks like the i9 13900K might get debuted on the 28th, but this is in Taiwan time, so that would be the 27th here, which, as you know from yesterday's episode of Hot News, is when AMD is rolling out the 7000 series of CPUs, and we talked previously about how that was intentional, sort of, to kind of steal Intel's thunder. It looks like Intel is going to launch at the same time that AMD is actually physically going to be shipping chips. But then on top of that, other CPUs like the i7K and the i5K are not going to be debuting until later in September or even early October, mid-October, somewhere in that region, with most of the chips being unveiled and coming out to market, launching physically in your hands October 20th, according to this report. October 13th will be the pre-order date. October 20th will likely be the shipping date. Obviously, this could be subject to change since this is not an official Intel published document. This is just a document that leakers have gotten their hands on, indicating when the chips are coming out. But it's going to be a mighty fine, fast, spacey, spoosy generation. That didn't sound like a good word. Kyler, I'm sorry. I'm Googling it. Is that a word?
Don't Google spoosy.
It's like autocorrecting to spooky. A combination of spicy and saucy. often used to describe a very attractive male. I was talking about you, boy.
Spoozy?
Yeah, you spoosy.
No.
Sorry, do you need HR?
I need an adult.
I am an adult.
But you know what else is spoosy? Logitech coming out with a gaming handheld, which they published details on and then realized they weren't ready and then took them down and then issued copyright strikes to people who tweeted about it. So that's great. Anyways, you can now see it right here. It's great. Look at it. This is just like AMD's announcement. Look at it. I'm just gonna show you the words. You can't see it. This is phenomenal. Thank you, AMD, for telling me to look at a video game while you made me stare at Dr. Lisa's too. Anyways, this is the actual gaming handheld. It looks fine. Asymmetrical joysticks. It doesn't look particularly egregious. It looks like it's going to be fine, but the basis behind it is their partnership with Tencent and likely for cloud gaming. So it's going to be supporting all of the things that you possibly want, like GeForce Now. What's the other with Stadia? That's what it's called. Xbox, the cloud thing, and all of them.
Stadia?
What?
Does anybody use Stadia?
Do you know about my history with Stadia?
You've explained it to me.
I haven't. I don't think I've gone over Stadia with
Don't
you.
you keep trying it, giving it a chance? And then
Oh, I stopped 2 years ago. But I was like one of the major tech YouTubers who like gave Stadia a shot and like kept paying them. I paid them.
Yep.
And then now look at what they've become. Look at what they've massacred my boy with. The end of hot news. See you tomorrow.